Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. The government of the Bahamas has signed a new power purchase agreement with CVB Utilities Limited for a new solar project in New Providence. The project paves the way for modern solar generation and advanced storage technologies for cleaner energy. The signing took place at the office of the Prime Minister on April 22nd, 2025.
We have very big ambitions for our country, but it was clear to me that we weren't going to be able to build a dynamic 21st century economy with a deteriorating 20th century electricity grid. So, despite having multiple other urgent crises to manage, we decided to take it all on. So that for the first time, our country is modernizing and upgrading the way we generate, store, and distribute electricity all at once and across our entire archipelago. And for the first time ever, we are harnessing the power of the sun with utility-scale solar power. We are building solar farms. We are deploying battery storage. We are constructing microgrids across our islands, and we are doing it with Bahamian companies, Bahamian workers, and a Bahamian vision. Today's signing is another important step forward in our new energy era. At CV Bethel, right next to the school, we are installing a solar photovoltaic and battery storage system that will supply energy to the national grid. Students will be able to watch the future take shape from their classrooms. And our students in Nassau won't be the only ones to see progress in motion. In Andros, in Cat Island, in San Salvador and Long Island, across our family islands, new hybrid microgrids are coming. We're going to make sure that cleaner, more reliable, and more affordable electricity reaches everyone. You know, I grew up in a house that had no electricity. Then I moved to where we were borrowing electricity through a drop cord from a neighbor's house. And then I started to have electricity. But it was without reliable electricity. So I know what it feels like when the lights go out and you don't know when they might come back on. I know what it's like when light bills are so high, it means families and small businesses have to make impossible choices. So we are determined for change to reach as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. In this new energy era, we are fueling our ambitions with action. We're not just installing new technology, we are investing in a more affordable way of life for Bahamians, in the ability of our businesses to compete, and in a more sustainable and resilient electricity grid to support our economy. So to the Bahamian companies like CVB Utility Company Limited, to the engineers, the planners, and the policymakers who made today possible, I want to thank you. You are proving that Bahamian innovation and Bahamian know-how can lead the way in our energy transition. We are moving from dependence to diversification, from diesel and heavy fuels to solar and natural gas, from rental generation to permanent infrastructure, and from fragility to strength. This is a journey of progress that every Bahamian will benefit from and can take pride in.
The PPA we are signing emanated from the request for proposals for New Providence microgrids and the new energy generation via renewables with energy storage systems that was launched by the government of the Bahamas. The renewable farm from CVB Utility Company will be near CV Bethel High School on East Street South and will provide a minimum of 20 megawatts of power with 5 megawatt hours of battery energy storage systems. Battery energy storage is a critical technology in building sustainable and resilient energy systems. The battery enables the storage of electricity energy generated at one time to be used at a later time. This capability is significant and is vitally important as we move from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. The workers of BPL will be involved in this project, affording them the opportunity to acquire new skills and knowledge through training and development. And to ensure that we protect Bahamian consumers from significant price fluctuations, we've included key performance indicators to lock down rates and provide penalties for non-performance. As we continue with our transformation, it is my pledge as Minister of Energy and Transport to keep the Bahamian people informed and updated on our plans and progress. And in short order, our Prime Minister and Minister of Finance will be tabling all of the agreements in the House of Assembly. I'm also pleased to share that the Ministry of Energy and Transport has led a comprehensive update to the National Energy Policy in consultation with the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, better known as ERCA. Public dialogue on the policy will start tomorrow in New Providence at St. John's College Auditorium and continue throughout the entire Bahamas over the next few weeks.
The Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training officially launched its new educational game show called Social Mania, aimed at helping to prepare students for national social studies exams through fun, interactive competition. The announcement took place at the Ministry on April 25th, 2025.
It is my pleasure to be here to support this academic program, which seeks to promote creativity in educational instruction, fosters an appreciation for learning, and provides support for excellence in national examinations. This academic game show is in keeping with the ministry's vision for an education system that will foster academic excellence and equip students with multiple literacies that will enable them to make meaningful contributions as nation builders who are globally competitive. Social Mania is designed to prepare our upper primary and junior high school students for success in the social studies in GLAT and the BJC examinations. But it's also about celebrating excellence, fostering teamwork, and showcasing the brilliance of our young scholars across the Bahamas. The game show, as you see, features a Jeopardy-style format where 3 students from each participating school compete, answering questions drawn directly from the Department of Education's Social Studies curriculum. 13 episodes are featured in this first season, in which we will see 72 talented students representing schools from New Providence and the Family Islands, and they battle it out in friendly but fierce competition. I'm especially pleased about the involvement of our students from Family Island schools. I believe they're joining us by Zoom, some of whom have joined us today by Zoom. And I'm being advised that in the audience, we have anyone from the Family Islands? No one's here, okay. I commend and thank our administrators and teachers for your unwavering commitment and your continuous efforts to ensure our students are empowered and prepared with the necessary knowledge and skills as a foundation for greater learning. Programs such as these succeed because of your dedication behind the scenes. I thank and commend our officers, Sally Johnson, Lucy Cunningham, officers of the Examination Assessment Division, the Communications Section, ADE Baker, and all partners who played an integral role in bringing this academic game show to fruition. Your creativity and hard work are paving the way for a new era of interactive learning in the Bahamas. I wish to also acknowledge the generous partnership of our local media houses, such as ILTV, RTV, and ZNES, who will broadcast all Social Mania episodes. As an extended gesture, ILTV and RTV have committed to airing all 13 episodes free of charge. And I thank them for that. Students continue to study hard and make us proud. The nation is watching, and we believe in you.
The aired Social Mania game show questions for the primary schools were selected based on the Ministry of Education Social Studies curriculum for grades 4, 5, and 6, and centered around the national standards of social studies, which are universal. Questions were selected from these 7 strands, which are 1, history, 2, geography, 3, tourism, 4, government, civics, and current affairs, 5, people, places, and environment, 6, culture, and our resources. The committee then assisted with the question selections were well-qualified members, namely ADE Lonnie's Hart, the late Gaynell Powell from Grand Bahama, Abaco SEO Sandy Edwards, and the social studies coordinators from the various primary schools in conjunction with Subject Secretary for GLAT, Fernita Davis. All questions were answered orally and were at the recall level. There was also an unseen list, like Ms. Sally Johnson said, of questions of higher level questions. Social Mania is a fun engagement to assist students with retention and a deeper understanding of the social study content. This enlightening game show also assisted with the retention of information required for the multiple choice section of the GLAT examination, thus paving the way to improve our GLAT results. It also encouraged students, teachers, and parents to keep abreast of current events so that they can be well informed. Students of grades 4, 5, and 6 were eligible to enter the competition, and they worked as a team to respond to the questions. So in conclusion, I say hats off to our students who executed a splendid job on the game show, Ed Social Mania.
And now we take a look up north with our northern service.
The government of the Bahamas unveiled its National Energy Policy, or NEP 2025-2030, to Grand Bahamians on Thursday, April 24th, in the form of a town hall meeting, which was held at the Ministry of Labor and Public Service. The public consultation meeting was designed for the ministry to impart information about the policy to Grand Bahamians and at the same time allowed Grand Bahamian stakeholders within the power industry to give their feedback and insight into proposed policy amendments. Facilitating the town hall meeting was Mandy Maynard from the Ministry of Energy and Transport, who gave an outline of the birth of the National Energy Policy, or NEP.
The National Energy Policy 2025-2030 was developed in line with Section 5(1) of the Electricity Act 2024. This section legally requires that the National Energy Policy be reviewed and updated periodically, being every 5 years. The amendment process began over a year ago, and it was a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Energy and Transport and the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, ERCA. The NEP 2025-2030 reflects the Bahamas' commitment to the ever-evolving energy priorities of the government. These include goals for sustainability, resilience, energy security, and affordability. It establishes a governance framework for accountability, transparency, and performance in the energy sector. And the energy sector, as you know, is critical to the Bahamas' socioeconomic development. Energy powers our homes, our businesses, health services, education, tourism, and it powers just about every other sector. And the government recognizes that a reliable and affordable energy supply is essential for economic growth and quality of life.
Mania noted that the government has made significant strides in this sector, but also recognizes that key challenges still exist.
The country faces unique geographic challenges. We are a scattered archipelago that increases energy distribution costs. We operate in small, isolated markets with limited economies of scale. And the sector in itself is vulnerable to external shocks, such as global oil price fluctuations and climate-related disasters. There is a clear need, then, for sustainable development and resilient energy infrastructure. Effective planning, regulation, and investment are key to long-term success. The NEP aligns with the National Development Plan for Energy Sector Reform. It has been identified as a national priority under the National Development Plan, and this NEP supports the plan's broader goals of resilience, innovation, and inclusive growth. Reforming the energy sector is not just a technical issue. It is about improving lives, making energy more affordable, reliable, and sustainable for families and communities. It is a development imperative.
She was careful to point out that the NEP is a policy document and not law, noting that there is a clear distinction.
This is a policy document, it's not law, and we know that there is a difference. So to provide you with some understanding of how policy and law differ, I think it's important to do that so that we understand, how this policy document in itself complements existing legislation. So a policy outlines the government's goals and the general approach to achieving them, and that is what the NEP is doing. A law, on the other hand, is legally enforceable, and those are passed by Parliament, and they're on the screen here, some of them. Laws set clear standards and penalties for non-compliance. So in simple terms, the NEP sets the direction for energy in the country, and these existing legislation help to enforce it, and both must be consistent. Government plays a key role then, and the role of government is very broad. Government's central role is to shape the energy landscape of the Bahamas. Its core responsibility is to develop and implement national energy policies, initiatives, and programs. Government must also promote private sector participation and investment. This includes creating an enabling regulatory environment. Public-private partnerships and independent power producers, or IPPs, are essential for expanding renewable energy infrastructure. Government is always also responsible for strengthening institutional capacity. This includes enhancing the effectiveness of regulatory bodies, the utilities, and policy-making institutions.
Veron Darville, one of the other speakers at the town hall meeting, said when it comes to the issue of supply and consumption, the Bahamas has 29 power stations on 17 islands around the country. Thus, the amount of infrastructure that's needed to supply these islands can be costly.
So we have to make sure that when we load forecasts for the future, when we put out the RFPs, and when we sign all of these power purchase agreements, we have the future in mind, as these power purchase agreements last for 25 years, right? So there are going to be some data gaps, right? When you plan for 1 year, 2 years, or 25 years, you need as much data as possible. That comes in the form of, we call it 8760 data, right? And we had to do the best we could in regards to getting as much information we could in order for us to forecast the loads. Now, we are confident in our forecasting, but this is really an essential part, and the way that we're going to cure that is that we're going to introduce more SCADA and DERMS platform as well.
But how does all of this affect Grand Bahamians who receive their electricity from Grand Bahama Power, a private institution? That was the main question on the minds of all Grand Bahamians who attended the town hall meeting. For Ron Dowell gave an answer.
This is a national energy policy, and Grand Bahama is a part of the nation. Okay, so maybe the Grand Bahamians won't benefit from the power purchase agreements that we've signed. And to be honest, I'm not going to benefit from most of them because I just live on Nassau. I don't go to any of the family islands, right? But I think it's important to realize that this is a policy. It's not a law. And we are a ministry. So nobody is left behind, neither Grand Bahamians. It doesn't matter which utility provides power to you. This is a policy that is cross-cutting and that covers the entire Bahamas.
As Prime Minister Philip Davis continues to champion his fight on the international stage for climate justice for the Bahamas and the Caribbean, and as the NEP 2025-2030 plan comes together, Grand Bahamians wait with hope and anticipation of one day seeing lower energy costs. For Your Government in Action, I'm Andrew Coakley.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. A ceremony for the reopening of the historic Blue Hill Road Community Clinic took place on April 23, 2025, restoring vital healthcare services to the heart of the community. The upgraded facility is a part of the government's push to improve accessible healthcare across the country. Our Matt Mora has more.
Prime Minister Davis told his audience that it has always been his belief that access to quality health care is a right that is worth fighting and striving for, and not just a privilege. He said the reopening of the historic Blue Hill Road Clinic is part and parcel of that movement.
A right doesn't cease to be a right just because people don't have access to it. Lack of access to health care is a form of inequality, a form of inequity and injustice that we must take serious steps toward addressing. For me, and for this administration, there's no other choice, no other future that we are willing to accept. Hospital by hospital, clinic by clinic, program by program, we are taking steps in the right direction to deliver a better future for healthcare in this nation.
The Prime Minister said a series of modernization exercises have been undertaken at dozens of clinics across the archipelago with a view to making access to 21st century healthcare services more readily available in communities across the Bahamas.
Just 2 weeks ago, we broke ground for the Coconut Grove Advanced Healthcare Center. And 7 days ago, we reopened the Anstown Community Clinics. 2 additional state-of-the-art public healthcare facilities which will have a positive impact on health outcomes in our local communities. And we are far from done. We must continue pushing forward to deliver on our ambitious agenda to transform healthcare in this country. We have no choice. To leave our healthcare system in the same deplorable condition as we met when we took office would be unethical and shameful. Too many lives are hanging in the balance for us not to push our plans forward aggressively.
Prime Minister Davis said the modernization exercise is also in response to the needs of Bahamians who for too long had no choice but to make do with a healthcare system that did not meet their basic needs.
In 2021, this administration committed to beginning the journey toward better healthcare. It is an ambitious undertaking. It required new hospitals, which are currently in progress. It required expanded NHI and prescription drug coverage, as well as the introduction of a catastrophic Healthcare Fund. It required new clinics and healthcare facilities on multiple islands, as well as the improvement and expansion of dozens of clinics in New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the family of islands. And it required major improvements to the PMH, including $75 million in upgrades during the current budget cycle, and past upgrades to A&E and other wards.
Mr. Davis said the modernization will provide meaningful benefits to all sectors of society.
I've sat with healthcare professionals working beyond exhaustion with limited resources. I've heard the stories of patients and their loved ones who waited long hours to be served when they experienced medical emergencies, as well as those who were served but received subpar care. I've talked to people who have delayed necessary treatments because they lack the funds to pay. We are making these changes for them and the countless others who deserve a healthcare system that works for everyone. And that is as true for our family islands as it is for New Providence. Being a nation of islands does not excuse us from our obligation to provide quality healthcare to every Bahamian, regardless of which island they live on or the amount of money they have in their bank accounts.
The strengthening of preventative care is expected to be a byproduct of the undertaking. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. the Honorable Michael Darville, said preventative care remains one of the strongest defenses against illness.
Bring your children for their wellness visits. Keep your vaccinations up to date and seek travel health advice before your journey abroad. Preventative care remains one of the strongest defenses against illness, and together with the Department of Public Health and all of us at the Ministry of Health, we can safeguard the health of our families and by extension our nation.
In acknowledging what he termed as the practical constraints associated with the undertaking, Prime Minister Davis said the rebuild of the public healthcare system is not an overnight fix and that progress will be measured in years, not days, weeks, nor months. Mr. Davis said his administration is committed to taking steps in the right direction that will deliver a better future for the healthcare system in country, hospital by hospital, clinic by clinic, and program by program. Being a nation of islands does not excuse us from our obligation to provide quality health care to every Bahamian, regardless of which island they live on or the amount of money in their bank account, Mr. Davis said. For your government in action, I'm Matt Mora.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.